If there is a message for us today, I believe it is to learn to live from our heart in love. These short lessons, hopefully, will help to inspire you to live with purpose, love passionately, and inspire others. We are the change agent our world needs. I'm Helen Toews. Step into the river today with me to explore the mysteries of God. They are not hidden from us, but for us to discover.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to tonight. I'm breaking form with our with my generally I have some kind of a PowerPoint where I'll present it with the script, but tonight I'm not for a couple of reasons. One, this lesson, Ed and I had a weekend where we were really tired. Like we were tired. We went to bed on Friday and we got up on Sunday. It was,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I know, it was really crazy, right? So obviously we needed the rest. It was a little bit unusual. But in that time, I don't know if you've heard of me saying, but what I love to do is cocoon. So I like downtime like that. And so this weekend I spent a lot of time cocooning with the Lord. And when I do that, I know usually I refer to being on a plane and I'll pull things over my head and just hide. Well, that's what happened this weekend. I sort of hid in him. And this lesson has come out of that cocooning time. I know I've shared as we've been going through these mindful meditations, and in different ways that these meditations have actually been given to me as I'm in that theta zone, that hypnotic zone coming out of sleep. And this lesson has sort of come out of that as well. So I hope that you'll be able to follow what as I go here. We're going to do 3 different 5-minute, I'm calling them 5-minute mindful meditations. And it's coming from a place where I realized that there's things that happen to us in our lives that create these emotions in us, and need to pray, etc. And so what I felt instructed to do is to encourage these 5-minute mindful meditations. And here is the science behind it. I don't want you to, I'm not going to get bogged down in the science. I'm trying to present it as simply and easily as I can, because sometimes when you see how science and spirituality come together, you have that aha moment. And it's just one more way, another tool of helping us to understand. So you probably all know that Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's an epigenologist, and he's the author. One of his books is called The Biology of Belief. And he talks about the fact that it's our own beliefs that actually change our DNA, and that we're not slave to our genes. You may have a family history of some kind of a disease, but it does not have to apply to you. Like many of us have filled out a form in a doctor's office and have been asked things like, is there any, name it, what disease in your family? And how many of us have bought into the fear that if great grandma had something and mother had it, then it's hereditary. It's in the genes. That's what we hear. Well, sadly, many people even prophesy their own destiny, because sometimes their own lifespan and sometimes their own lifespan by those beliefs. So I'm going to take a moment to share something that I learned and how much sense it makes when you put science and spirituality together, and we learn how we actually function in both areas. So The question was, what is a stem cell? Now, don't glaze over. This is not hard, and it's not going to be super detailed. But here's the scoop. As adults, we have about 50 trillion stem cells in our body. Human beings are a community of cells that are continually dying and continually being renewed. We began as one stem cell, or better known as an embryonic cell, an embryo. So Dr. Lipton, in an experiment, took one stem cell and put it into a petri dish. The culture in the dish was a lab-created version of human blood chemistry. That stem cell divided every 10 hours in this human blood chemistry, and after a week, there were 30,000 stem cells, all genetically identical to the first. So then he took 3 of them, the 3 identical cells, and he put them into 3 separate dishes, but he changed the culture mediums. Each medium now, each culture, was based on chemistry of different aspects of the body, like bone, muscle, and fat. And they all reproduced in the same way, multiplying, but they grew not according to the identical genes, but to the environment that the gene was put into. So 3 identical stem cells were put into 3 different environments and reproduced according to the chemistry of the medium, the environment that they were put in. All right. So according to Dr. Lipton, he said, we are a skin-covered petri dish, and it's the chemistry of the medium that controls the genetics is our blood. Blood is our medium, and the chemistry of the blood controls the cell. So the question was, what controls the chemistry? And the answer is our brain. Our brain is the chemist that puts the chemistry into the blood. So then we ask the question, what chemistry does the brain put into the blood? How does it know what to release? And how does it know what you need? The answer is this: whatever picture you have in your mind, the brain translates into complementary chemistry, whatever images your mind creates. The picture you hold in your mind controls your genetics. Cells are always responding to the chemistry produced by the brain, and the chemistry is responding to the consciousness. Now, we have been talking about consciousness for a very long time now. And this is just, another focus on it that absolutely has set me on fire with a greater understanding of what it is that we're dealing with. So remember, in the petri dish now, the stem cells all duplicated identically until the chemistry was changed, and then they became the bone cell, muscle cell, etc. So change your consciousness, change your chemistry. Change your chemistry, change your life. We have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And Dr. Lipton says they are not 2 parts of the same. The conscious mind is creative. It learns from taking in information that's being taught, like in lectures, like right now. Your conscious mind is in a state of, picking up information. If you're interested in this, and by the way, if you're interested in what I'm sharing right now, I don't mind sharing the notes from this with you at all. If you want to email me, I'm happy to send it if you're interested, so you don't have to take a lot of notes. But this is how the conscious mind works. We have a conscious awareness of something, and you can understand it, but it doesn't change you. Like all the information that I just shared right now won't change you. And you can have conversations with yourself. You can talk about it in a group or whatever, but all you've done is learned something. You haven't learned what you've learned isn't making a change yet. So the subconscious mind is our habit mind. The subconscious programming is what changes you. Your subconscious is very different. And it's not a place that you simply talk to, because like Dr. Lipton says, there's nobody at home there. That's a programming that's out of habit, and it just operates. So when we want to change something within us, for us to be walking around the house saying, I am rich, I am exciting, I am buying my Cadillac, I am whatever, it won't change it, because it only operates out of what's been programmed in us. So we have to learn, and we have to understand that it's by a programming, and we do it, that things change. And then when it works from our subconscious, we're going to see, like, because we're a little bit like a computer. You know, you buy a new computer, and that computer has a hard drive, and for the computer to meet your particular needs, you have to put programs like Word and PowerPoint and Excel and add a whole bunch of stuff to it. You have to input it, and you have to be deliberate so that what you need for your computer suits you, right? So we're like that. If you want something to change within you, just yelling at it or speaking to it or hoping won't change. It will not make any difference. You have to put the program in. And your program is whatever picture you create in your mind. So if you're missing something in your life that you've been believing for, check the picture that's in your mind. Does it come up readily in your mind? Can you see it? The brain translates that picture into complementary chemistry and whatever images your mind creates. So I'm going to say it again. Change your consciousness. Your consciousness changes your chemistry, and your chemistry changes your life. In other words, conscious thought is energy, and energy creates matter. And over the last months, we've used all that language and all that conceptually, and all we're doing now is looking at it another way from another point of view. And this point of view is our thinking creates our reality. And that's a very serious statement. Our thinking, what we think, creates. It's not a matter of, oh, well, nobody's going to hear because I'm not saying it out loud. Our thinking is so powerful. There is so much energy and such a frequency that our thinking creates our reality. And scripture has a lot to say about our thoughts. We could probably just go around the room and say, what do you remember? Well, take every thought captive. Take every thought, what? Not every word, take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ, 2 Corinthians. Set your mind on things above, not on things of the world. God has given us a sound mind in 2 Timothy. He even tells you what to think about, whatever's pure, lovely, good. Think on those things. It says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. All these are great keys to all of what science is just, well, I've tried to put it in the scientific terms, is in scripture. Have the same mindset as Christ, and you have the mind of Christ. So it's clearly important that the images we have in our mind, what our imagination is creating, is more than important. It's critical to our well-being. We can change a belief, we can change a health issue, we can change fear to love, anger to hope, and so much more. Knowing how we are created and that we are, and what we are capable of, can be a huge motivation to make a purposeful change. Now, I know you're going to be very sad if I don't mention heart-brain coherence, but really, that was one of the first things we began with, and it's the simple and the most powerful modality to bring ourselves into a place where our body releases hormones and activates and generates literally hundreds of benefits, doesn't it? That one breathing technique that accompanies that heart-brain coherence is as simple as it gets, and it brings our brain waves to 0.1 that we saw last week when we talked about the delta frequency. That frequency is also a place that we're connected to the frequency of the earth and associated with the deepest psychophysical relaxation. So we learned that meditation is not just putting ourselves in a passive state to relax, but coupled with mindfulness, it is a key component to the creative frequency of thought. And it's good to know that when we set our body into a relaxed state, but as we can see, it's our mind and emotions, our inner vision of what we desire that will affect the change. So the vision of what we desire is what releases the brain to produce the chemistry that creates what we desire. So we can begin that change and begin to create what we desire. And I would like to propose that we learn to engage in 5-minute mindful meditations. Why? Well, let's think about how we learned how to ride a bike, right? We started, most of us or many of us started with training wheels, or a parent or a brother, or uncle holding on to our seat. And for some of us, it was harder than others. It took us a long time to really get the hang of holding onto your balance. It was new. It was a little bit frightening because we really weren't sure and we were really shaky. But then finally, after repeating it and with help and repeating it and with help, we all of a sudden could, I just remember my dad letting go of my bike, and I was riding and didn't know it. But that's how it happened. By repetition, we learned to ride that bike. Now, once I learned how to ride that bike, right? Aren't we all the same? It's a skill within us. We learned it by repetition. And that's why we can say, you never forget, it's like riding a bike. You don't even think about it anymore. From the time where you let go of those training wheels, you were a bike rider. And today, even if you haven't ridden a bike for 20 years, you can get on one and push that pedal and balance yourself and go. You get so good at it, sometimes you'll drive without using your hands. It's embedded in your subconscious. So that's what I believe using 5-minute mindful meditation activations do. They are going to help us to learn how to ride the bikes, meaning that when we spend time in activations, we will be able to activate that subconscious to that place where we are dealing with the subjects that we have been talking about. For instance, if your subconscious response to understanding that you are wealth and all your needs are met according to the riches of his glory in Christ, when you have a massive bill or a financial crisis, you will be strong in who you are. You won't go into a panic. So how do you live in the reality of I am wealth? Well, it's like riding a bike. You practice holding the vision until you change the subconscious programming. You don't just say it over and over. You set your vision to it. It becomes your reality. Whatever you picture whatever picture you have in your mind, the brain will translate it into the complementary chemistry. And whatever that image is, your mind will create it. That will become your default. When you get to the point where The reality of, I'm just going to use this one, I am wealth. When that becomes inside you, nothing that comes at you will make you fall off the bike, because you know how to ride it. You know how to live in that reality. There was Joe Dispenza told a testimony of a man he was working for. He evidently was a very, very wealthy man. You may have heard this testimony. And anyway, he'd been working for him for a while. And one day they had gone out for lunch, and this gentleman sat down with Joe, and he said, "Joe, it's quite a day. I have lost everything. I am absolutely bankrupt." And Joe went like, wow. But he knew, and he said, you have lost and rebuilt many, many times. You're a wealthy man. And the man said to him, "No, Joe, I'm not wealthy. I am wealth." You see, that man knew the difference. He could lose everything, but his reality was he is the wealth. It's not a matter of gaining and losing. He is it. And that man went on to recover. So, why 5-minute mindful meditations? These times are for us to learn to respond rather than react to life until our life becomes what we see it from the inside out. For instance, we all have experienced at one time, I'm sure, a very common emotion called anger. So when anger comes up in us, how do we deal with it? Well, sometimes we deal with it very badly, don't we? We react. And other times we just don't do anything. We just pack it down. Like we just suck it up and carry on. But what if we started to learn to take time to adjust our thinking at the time of the awareness of an emotion? How much help would that be to help us from stuffing emotions repeatedly or reacting poorly? The principles work for good and evil, and an immediate response is better than a delayed one, and it can save us a lot of grief. Let's just look at anger. Anger is a natural, although sometimes unwanted or irrational. It's an emotion everyone experiences from time to time. Anger can be a way of surviving and protecting yourself from what's considered wrongdoing. And it may be brought on by feeling tired or stressed or irritated. We may become angry when reacting to frustration, criticism, or a threat. And this is not necessarily a bad or inappropriate reaction. However, when anger can affect our ability to communicate effectively, it makes us more unreasonable or irrational and makes others around us feel threatened or resentful, creating an angry response themselves. Anger can also be a secondary emotion to other emotions like sadness, frightened, threatened, lonely, frustration. And it's also the root of cynicism and sarcasm, which ultimately has its root in fear. So it's useful to try to understand why you or someone else is feeling angry at any given time so that the root causes can be addressed and the problem solved. Long-term anger, the kind that you repeatedly program into your subconscious, can ultimately be detrimental to your health and well-being. So, how does a 5-minute mindful meditation work? Well, when we recognize an emotion when it's occurring, we will right away take an opportunity to replace and reprogram any subconscious belief or pattern. When we create a vision in our mind, our brain can release the chemicals that create a positive desire and outcome rather than negative. Also, because it's a short activation, it will de-escalate negative emotions, bring perspective, or can help to deconstruct old patterns of belief, and therefore we become transformed by the renewing of our mind to the conscious reality, creative reality of what our desire is. The purpose of 5-minute meditation is for us to be able to shift into a positive emotion as soon as the trigger happens and prevent it from lodging in our subconscious. So here are the keys. When we have an emotion, say we become angry, we're in a meeting, we're in a situation. Number one, we're going to recognize the negative emotion or situation. We're going to replace it because your thinking creates your reality. Dr. Lipton said, even if it doesn't seem real, it will become real with repetition. And you know what? That's for good stuff and for negative. When something happens and we start having an emotion like anger, it would be good to retreat to a quiet place. And you think, well, I'm in a meeting, I can't do that. Or I'm at a dinner, I can't. Or you're in a room with a gathering. But you know what? Everybody can retreat for 5 minutes. How many times have you gone out for a breath of fresh air or to the bathroom, for instance? Removing yourself for a few minutes will bring you to gain perspective and bring your mind back into focus. This might be the hardest thing for many of us because in a stressful time, we often have that knee-jerk reaction, whether verbally or physically. And it may be hard to move away from what is familiar patterning or from our ego that has to be in control or right, but it's not an impossible thing to do. So the other thing we need to do is we need to relax. And what we're going to do is use this technique and with a guided meditation that will have a music background and hopefully help you to relax and recognize the situation and replace negative frequency with a positive. So and the fourth thing is replace the negative images with a positive new vision will basically change our life for good. Okay, so here's if you're game, let's set our hearts, our minds to a 5-minute meditation and visualize ourselves releasing any negative emotions of anger. Now, I know you're sitting there tonight. You didn't come prepared to deal with any. This isn't something that you may even have thought of. But many of us can relate to a time or a feeling of anger or frustration, a time that even being angry, that feeling might still surface. And so we're going to use this as our first illustration, just to allow ourselves to come into an understanding how in a few minutes we can change from taking the reality of an emotion like anger and change it to joy, just joy. Okay, how are we all doing? Just going to check with you here. It's hard because I only see little strips. Everybody good?
We're good.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Good.
Everybody game?
Yep.
All right. Okay, all right. Just gonna find my music. And here we go. Okay. So, all right. Let your body relax. Now, just as you shut your eyes, take a deep breath. Now tense your shoulders, pull them right up to your ears. Okay, hold it, tighten everything up. Hold it. Okay, and let it go. Just let it go and release. Whew. Be completely aware of that relaxed feeling. Begin to breathe slowly in through your nose until you feel full. Just fill up with air. And then purposefully blow out the air through your mouth slowly. Continue to focus on this breathing pattern and feel yourself sink into rest. It's the breath of life filling you. Just continue. We will mindfully and purposefully release the negative emotions of anger. Continue to breathe in and out. Can you put anger into a sentence? Like, I feel frustrated with. I feel saddened about anything. I'm feeling threatened. Now, imagine on your lap is a small square board. That board becomes a movie screen as you look at it. Allow it to show you a picture, a moving picture of the situation and the people involved. Allow yourself to see what circumstance created the anger. Can you see it? Be angry, but sin not. Your feelings belong to you. They are not right or wrong. They are passing. God is not mad at you. This has occurred in your life for a purpose. Keep breathing. Put your hand over the picture. Can you feel God's hand on yours? Take a deep breath. Forgive anyone attached to your anger. Don't judge it or have any concern for the outcome. Bless the situation and the people or the person involved. Now, put your hand on your heart, the place of your greatest power and compassion. Feel the love that Father has for you. Let yourself rest completely in that compassion. His unlimited mercy. And that is your place of rest in Him. His hand is your hand. Nothing is impossible. Breathe in new life. Breathe out and rest. Release all. And this place of rest is the manifestation of all problems solved. It is in Him where all possibilities exist. Allow the peace to come, knowing that it is all in Yahweh's hands. Continue to breathe and release, and allow the feeling of gratitude to bring joy. The joy is your new strength. Breathe in life. Okay. Now you may think, this is not a very long meditation. What could it possibly do? But here's what it's begun. Your imaging has triggered your brain to release chemicals that in turn will create a new state of being. It will establish in you joy and peace, replacing anger or frustration. Did you arrive at a magic place? Well, maybe, but if you remain conscious of the creative process like this, when your subconscious will become what governs your life. Right now, it might feel like learning to ride a bike with training wheels. But when the wheels come off and you learn to drive, anger will not have you. And you will have a skill that allows you to recognize anger for what it is. And it's a tool that will help you to understand something and not react. See, when we recognize an emotion, a negative emotion like anger, and when we set ourselves aside and we allow ourselves to recognize the fact, yeah, I was mad, I was frustrated, I was scared, whatever it was, that's not a bad thing. The bad thing is when we don't deal with it and we press it down in our body, or we ignore it, which is really the same thing because it has to land somewhere. So if we learn that we can replace those feelings, vision, let go of one and envision the next one, then we actually start a process that changes us in our subconscious from the inside out. And we will, when we do that over and over, just in those few minutes, it actually brings about a huge change because now there's awareness that we haven't had before. So we'll talk about that. Hello. Sorry, was somebody saying something?
Carolyn has her hand up. I'm not sure if it was about the music was a little bit loud this last time. If we're going to do another one, that maybe you could just turn the music down a bit.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Did it mess it all up?
I'm sorry, I just never heard how you replaced it. I think I need hearing aids or something. Oh, maybe I could do a meditation on that. But I just never quite heard the process bit. I feel horrible telling you this. I got to the bit where the hand went on the screen, and then how did Jesus bring a new picture? I'm really sorry. I'm going to listen to this again later. I won't interrupt. Goodbye. Sorry.
Okay, so this, you know what? I'm really sorry about the music. Ed just gave me a note too. Imaging, fighting with the sound, music a little loud, overbearing. Yeah, well, that would be very distracting. So I'm glad, and I'm seriously glad that you brought that up, because I'll fix that for the next one. See, what we're doing is we're taking 5 minutes and recognizing the fact in this particular one that we need to deal with anger. Okay, this is the situation that we've just made it up because we're not pointing to something in our life necessarily, but we all understand that feeling of being angry in a situation, wherever we are. If we can pull back from that and set our mind on things above, not on things of the earth, on being aware of what we are actually, we're saying to ourselves on the inside, we can recognize something without beating ourselves up, right? And so when you recognize that anger has a place, but they don't have a place to lodge in you, that they're not, anger is not right or wrong, God's not mad at you, and there are things that we can do to release that in our life. But it's not good enough just to release something. We need to replace it. We have to put in us what is the health, what is the what's the best word here? You have to, if you're angry, you need peace, right? You need to, so that you want to replace the negative with the positive. Am I confusing more here? No? Okay. All right, good.
You're doing great, Helen.
All right. Because that's what we're learning. The vision that we have is what is creating our reality. So if we keep our vision into anger, and how many times have we had conversations with ourselves in the shower because you've been in an argument with somebody, you've been in a meeting, or your boss is mad at you, and you have these conversations over and over. And what that does is it establishes the very thing that we don't want. So coming into a situation in the same way where we consciously image the peace, image love, image yourself forgiving, image yourself forgiving and feeling God's hand on yours. That's what creates the change. It isn't just about positive confession. It's about using that imaging process so that your subconscious is reprogrammed. Okay, so let's, you ready for another one? You want to try another? Okay, good, good, good. All right, I'm going to see if I can get just another. Okay. All right. I'm going to start. Is this a little more silent? Is that a little better?
Gina's saying turn it down a little bit.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so we're gonna do a 5-minute mindful meditation on fear. 2 Timothy said, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. So many people think that the opposite of fear is faith, but it's actually love. When there's a moment of fear, no matter what the situation, we can envision love. And it enables us to establish that truth in our subconscious. And when it's established, we will live from the place of love. This, of course, is not the kind of fear where you have a clear and present danger. You know, when the pit bull comes out around the side of the fence and he's running at you, well, that's not the kind of fear we're talking about. That's not the time to meditate. That's the time to run. But fear has many faces. Josh, fear of man, for instance, brings a snare. Sorry, I'm using my phone to, so it gets interrupted. Fear has many faces, and one in Joshua it says, "Don't be discouraged." In John 14 it says, "Don't let your heart be troubled." So fear can be a troubled heart. Fear can be worry. Matthew 6. Psalm 49 or 94 says, "When anxiety was great within me." So anxiety can be fear. You can be fearful and dismayed And we know that fear has torment. But 1 John 4:18 says, there is no fear in love, and perfect love casts out fear. So the moment that you are anxious, that you're afraid of what man can do, or you're discouraged, or you have a troubled heart, dismayed, tormented, remember, your thoughts are a creative force and your imagination creates your reality. So if we're going to, the object now, for this next 5 minutes, is to image love. Normally back in the day, we would cast out fear and we'd be addressing fear and we'd be mad at the devil, etc. But really, what we need to do is to image love, because that displaces anything that could possibly be negative. All right, so let's try. Here we go. Okay, let's image love together. Okay, again, let's shut our eyes and tense our upper body, clench your fists, and then let go. Release, release. Be aware of the relaxed feeling again. Let it settle. Begin to breathe slowly in your nose and then purposefully blow out the air through your mouth. Now you're going to continue to focus on this breathing pattern throughout this time. So feel yourself sink into rest. Breathe the breath of life. Now, as you breathe out slowly, release any thoughts that might bring resistance to this moment. Breathe in. Can you see a huge bonfire? A person just came over to you with a piece of paper, and on that paper is written what you fear. You read it, but now you can crumple it up. Crumple it up in a small ball, and you can throw it in the fire. Watch it burn. That fear has no place. It's gone. Can you remember a time when you were overwhelmed with the emotion of love or compassion? What triggered it? Can you see it? Take time to feel all the emotions. Let the details of that time come into your memory as though it was happening right now in this moment. Were there special sounds, smells, feelings? Spend time in that moment. Truly let yourself feel the love. Notice a bright, warm light in the room. A gentle voice speaks from that light. I am with you always. I will never leave you or forsake you. You are deeply loved with an everlasting love. You are created in the image and likeness of love. Can you see the words? I am love. Breathe in love. Let it fill every cell of your being. Breathe out gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. I am love. All right. Just in 5 minutes in that time is powerful. And what it does is it establishes truth in your inner man. Psalm 51:6 says, "Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part, you will make me to know wisdom." Establishing something means that you put a system in place on a firm or permanent basis. It means to show something to be true beyond a shadow of a doubt. Just like when you learned to ride the bike, you had a desire to be able to ride. And when you learned by repetition, it was established. Today, you can ride. If somebody challenged you, you were wanting to get on a bike and it says, "No, that bike is old. It's rusting, the tires are low." You can smile and say, "I can even ride this old thing." And that's how our values are established in us. When our default system in our thinking is to our core belief, what happens around you has to line up with that. It's like Joe Dispenza's friend. He wasn't concerned about losing his business. Losing money was not an issue. He was established in the fact that he was not able to rebuild his fortune, not just able to rebuild his fortune, but he was the reason his fortune was made, and his fortune didn't make him. He was wealth. So in that now, let's apply that to health. Can you say, "I am health"? Is it established in your inner man? Are you aware that you can have a disease on your body, yet you can be established in the fact that I am health, that you are health? The circumstance of the outer man is not the power. It's your inner man that creates your reality. Your thoughts are a creative force, and your imagination creates your reality. So the innermost parts of man are a room in the subconscious, the place where the programming has been established so that in a time of stress, challenge, this is what will be the strength of your truth. That is why health is different from being healthy. Wealth is different from being wealthy. So in 3 John 1:2, it says, "Beloved, I pray that in all respects you may prosper and be in good health, just as your soul prospers." When we allow ourselves to imagine our desires become our reality. And this meditation is powerful if you have a situation that is coming up in you regarding your health and will help you to refocus it to your reality. Okay, maybe we should take a little break together before we do this, because I want to know if you are understanding what I'm saying about the difference between the fact that you are health and that if something comes on your body, it's on your body. It is not the core of who you are. That's not denying the fact that there might be something you have to deal with. But what you're denying is its ability to remain there, because you are health. Is that making sense? Okay. I'm not seeing everybody, so I should, everything's good. Okay, thumbs up. All right. Okay, so let's do this last one here now. All right. I'm going to do that I am health. And all right. So I'm going to, I don't, does that sound okay, Kathy?
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds great.
All right. So let's get comfortable again. Just allow your body to sink into the chair where you are. Shut your eyes to the outside world just for a few minutes and breathe in, breathe out. Simply rest in knowing that you're in a safe place. So we're bringing our attention to the place called health. Give yourself permission to release all your thoughts and emotions and give yourself the gift of being present to health, your health. Imagine yourself in perfect health. Allow your inner person to visualize yourself in prime shape, tip-top, no hindrances to anything that you might want to do. Now, if thoughts come in like you're too old, you're too weak, say no. Just inside yourself, say no. Refuse those thoughts. Recognize them, and then just see them dissolve in front of you as you say no. They have no power. Now, see yourself doing what you want to do. Might be a walk on a beautiful beach, a path in a forest. Bring your senses into it. Hear the sounds, the water, the trees. Smell the freshness of the air. Maybe imagine a family gathering or being with friends. Feel the joy of freedom. Keep breathing. See yourself up before the dawn watching the sunrise. Feel the moment of joy as the sun comes over the horizon. Experience the precious warmth of the sun on your face. Nothing is impossible. You are unlimited. You are wonderfully and fearfully made by God. Feel the overwhelming gratitude for your perfect health. Just give thanks. Thank you for my health. Oh, remember the one who created you is always with you. Thank you. Thank you. Say to yourself that in every respect, I prosper. I bless my health. I am health. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We need to be who we are, not the circumstances that try to make you think who you are. We can change our consciousness. That will change the chemistry. That will change our life. All right. I'm changing us to gallery here. How are we all doing? Did it make sense?
Yes.
Where are you, Judith? Yeah, okay. Hi, Susan. Okay.
There were some comments. Caroline had said this is brilliant, life-changing stuff. Evie said it's not to allow wrong mind movies to keep the anger going. This is when we had done our first one, and we had some other folks just saying how beautiful it was, and what a peaceful and very peaceful, extremely calming and peaceful from Giselle on our second one.
Thank you so much. I saw Giselle couldn't hear it, so that doesn't help either. Oh dear. Okay, where are you, Susan? Susan, did you disappear? Susan had her hand up and now you're gone. Oh, there you are. Did you want to?
Yes. I think I'm probably the most relaxed I ever was in my life. You know, if you're not a relaxed person, this is not super easy to just let go, you know, but it was wonderful. It kind of gives me a little bit more, you know, the 6-minute breathing. I get distracted on that, but now I can add this kind of thing to the 6-minute breathing and maybe concentrate, cut the mind out a little more. And yeah, it gave me some purpose to it.
Well, that, you know what, that's awesome. I personally find that there are times where it's valuable to have a guided process because it helps to get into the groove of what the purpose of that is. And so, but I'm feeling badly that I've had problems. Well, not problems. I'm just inept, I think, in doing the music with the meditation. But I'm hoping that it worked for some.
Can I just I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but could we cut the piano and find maybe a nice gentle guitar? I find a piano like that jarring.
Okay. Yeah. The
That's
other.
just my opinion, but
No.
but we've had beautiful music in the past.
I appreciate that, and you're not Debbie Downer at all. It won't matter. frequency is really important to all of us. And some people will relate better to one or to another. And yes, I could certainly, find different musics. Some people just like sound without any kind of piano or anything like that. So we can do that. The other thing that I can do is to take these 3 5-minuters and have my son, Bob, he's sometime on here, and he's the one that puts the things up on the website. But what we can do, I can take them, isolate them, and then he can put the music in professionally, so that, like, this is from my phone, and it's already gone through a filtering, and so I'll redo them, and he'll put the music in, and then you can engage. Does that sound okay?
That'd be great.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, Gigi.
That was beautiful. Thank you. I love these exercises because they are short. I mean, I like long ones too, but you can do them anywhere, anytime,
Yeah.
as you get good at them. But what I found this time was what was really helpful was the replacing part. Because I am finding that sometimes in a meditation, I'll be thinking about something, and then some other thing will spur on a real emotion about it. Like that happened with the second one that we did. And I was in this beautiful place of love. And then because of what I was imagining, how that love might have changed over the years and where it is sort of right now. And I thought, oh, gee, whoa. You know what I'm saying? So there's always a battle in our mind for our preconceptions, our things that we no longer need, that we still live in, that still hold our attitudes, that still hold our belief systems, that still limit us, right? I don't want to have that stuff. So it was interesting. It was beautiful because I realized, and I hadn't realized, that this one thing that I thought was still a thing in my brain, right? So it was all good. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it was great. But it made me realize that this type of work is so crucial and so important because it bypasses our brain. It gets us into our heart, and it allows our real self, our higher self, to actually see our unlimited spirit being of who we are and who we're supposed to be, regardless of our, oh, but there's this and that, and but I think this, and but this makes me feel this way, regardless of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So putting all that away for like 5 minutes is probably pretty doable. And the more that we do that, the more that we can understand that and see from the inside out how great and wonderful and powerful and beautiful we are, how fearfully and wonderfully and amazingly that we've been made, how we can bypass what we've been taught, what we see, is bombarding us on a daily basis right at the moment, to keep us in the fight, to keep us in the fear, to keep us in the crap, to keep us in the stuff that isn't true for us, for our higher self. Yeah. So Yeah, that was a real great realization, because just stepping out and allowing my unlimited, like what I saw for I am health, unlimited
Yeah. Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And I, yeah, hello. And it was very normal. It was like, yeah, that's me. Of course, that's me. Why wouldn't it be? That is my higher self. I don't want to live in the lower self.
Right.
I want to live in the higher self. I want to be the best person that I was created to be, not the one where I think, oh, yeah, yeah, but this person says, oh, but that, but, all that. So this exercise allows you to do it. Nobody's watching, nobody's seeing, nobody's hearing, nobody's looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get to be this super innovative, amazing superhero person,
Yeah.
and that's what we are. And the more we do that, the more our chemistry allows us to actually be that.
That's right.
So it's, yeah.
Yeah, that's really, I agree with you 100%. The more we establish, we'll know when we've arrived here, when we are able to say, not just say it as words, but like the man who lost everything, he wasn't concerned because he was established in I am wealth. I don't know what your problem is. You don't have to even talk about gaining it back. I am wealth. And when we come to that place, then nothing comes at us from the outside will change us. And that's with health as well. And what it helped me to establish in my health, if I can understand that I am health, I have received everything that was done in the cross. Everything that Christ did for me is done. It is finished. He took my pain. He took my suffering. He took my disease. My poverty, everything, and said it was finished. So I could stand and say, I am health, because I can stand in him. And then if something comes at me from the outside, it's not, it can't attack who I am, who is health. Yes, I have to deal with whatever it is on the outside, but it won't get me because I already have it. I am health. Is that making sense? It's the kingdom is upside down, is really what we're learning. It's totally upside down. In him we live and move and have our being. Okay, I waited too long for there's Carolyn and then Jerry.
Just a, a little really quick thing was, it was, how sometimes just a line will stick and it's like a revelation and it changes you on the spot. Well, that was when Mike Parsons, I know I keep quoting him, but he's been very helpful to me. He said, actually just the other day, there are facts and we can't deny them. Like, I've got cancer, or I've blah, 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 blah. And so, but there's also truth, Christ, the higher path. So he said, we can't deny fact, which we've been taught to in the faith movement, to deny them. But unfortunately, we have to face the facts. But then exactly what you've just done today, this is like, why this is so brilliant to me, because faith and facts and truth came to me so powerfully the other day, and now you're filling the gap in with this. So you switch immediately once you've established what the truth is, which is I am health or whatever. So the whole time I've just got those words reverberating through my head. There are facts, but there is truth, and truth's the high road, and it overcomes everything. So what you've just said is teaching us how to live from truth, not facts. And he said, don't try and deny them. He said, there's no use denying them. That's not going to do a thing. You just live in misery. And I've done that for years. I've always done the old faith movement thing, and it's never worked, never. But truth is truth. So there we go. Just wanted to pass that on from Mike. I hope that's okay.
Oh, no. Hey, I love Mike. He's one of my besties. So I'm always happy.
Me too. Well, not, yeah.
Yeah.
I love him too. I don't know him physically, but in my spirit, I'm sure I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, we got to know Mike. We've had him here a couple of times now, and he's stayed with us in our home. So I feel very privileged to know him. I know exactly what he's, what his heart is. He's a beautiful man, and I think what you just said is very, very valuable and very important. We don't deny it. We deny it's like we don't deny that we're frustrated or angry or have those emotions. We deny their right in us. That's it. And so when we put it into a sentence, right? But then we say no to it. It's not that we're casting out, we're not praying to it, we're not doing anything. We're just denying it. And then go into that place where you replace that anger with joy, with love. And then you don't think about the other stuff anymore because it has no place, it has no power, and the right things take over. All right, where is Jerry? Yes.
Hi. I hope this isn't a wrench, but I think this is maybe a multifaceted diamond in that I've had a recurring dream that's taken a recurring theme of a dream that's taken place over the course of the last couple of weeks. And I've asked the Lord, gone through those teachings that you had taught and tried to come up with what was being revealed to me. But through this, in a very quick 5 minutes, that dream can be rewritten the same way that the emotions in that dream and everything else can be rewritten.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Jerry, thank you for sharing that. That's really good because there are many facets to this, and I'm glad you think it's a diamond because I do too. You can take the principle of this, 5-minute mindful meditation. It's because the mind is the important factor, right? How we think in our heart, so are we. And so you can take this as well into places that things that have gone on, that if you're being tormented by something, use the same principle. Write out your 5-minute mindful meditation using the same principles. Directly understand what it is that you're feeling, what's coming at you, and then when you deny it, to continue to access, and then you bring yourself into the answer, the vision of what you are, what the truth is. And so I really encourage you to write your own 5-minute. It's an easy thing to do because you'll do it from your heart. So that's really good. That is really good. Lana. So, there you go. You don't want to talk? Sorry.
I do. I just couldn't find myself.
Oh.
What? That's weird. Why did I say that? Okay. I love these 5-minute meditations. They're awesome. And I love the reference to the diamond, Jerry. That was really cool. What I was thinking just before you started to speak was with regard to the, like, I think sometimes, because like one of my first responses is not always well, no, I can't say that. Anyways, what I realized was sometimes it's kind of buried. So yeah, so like maybe the frustration or the anger is buried and you don't even initially realize until you've spent that 5 minutes to focus on it so that you can deal with it. So anyways, I just thought that was, I realized that, you know what, I probably was burying it. So yeah, that was a good reminder for me. You can't bury it.
No, no, yeah, totally don't bury it. But the other thing is we have been so used to ignoring things and not dealing with things as they come up that many, I mean, probably everyone here has something that, and I don't, you know, I don't want anyone to go hunting for anything, but it's when they come up in your mind, when they come up in your heart, the key here is deal with them then. Take the 5-minute moment then, and don't think, oh, well, I'll deal with that tonight, you know, in my evening prayers. No,
Right.
pull away from it and do it immediately. I know it sounds very direct, but you know what? We have an enemy of our soul, and we don't need to give any time for it. And so to stay in that place of love and peace and joy and develop that in us requires work. And sometimes it takes immediate, it's like dealing with a 2-year-old. You're not going to, when you're not going to tell them you're going to be sorry when your daddy gets home. That's silly. He's forgotten by the time dad gets home what he's done wrong. Deal with it then. This is the problem. Deal with it. And that's sort of the focus here tonight. Mm-hmm. Judith, do you have your hand up?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
there. That's okay.
I'm laying down, so it's kind of difficult. I'm just, Helen, I just want to thank you so much. From the time that we even started down this road, can't remember how many years ago, but, and it has to culminate to get you to a certain place. I don't know how I would have survived these last 2 years. I have no idea. And sometimes you just want to give up and just, you know, get right into the pain or something. And this little voice came to me the other day and said, do you have a choice? And I thought, well, no, I don't, because I've already committed to walking this way. And I had a new picture tonight for myself when it comes to health. I was the tree with its roots going down into the water. And I know it's Psalm 1, and I can hardly wait to see what all the Lord is going to show me through that. I know it's going to be amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
That is so good. And that is actually what we do, right? When we do these type of activations, we start establishing the root system, the foundational part of who we are, and be patient with ourselves. There's so many things we've gotten to a place in our life without even doing it on purpose. We've done it by neglect, not knowing, unknowing. And don't be hard on yourself. Absolutely don't be hard on yourself. When the things come at us, understand the fact they are not necessarily right or wrong. You don't have to examine it. They're passing through. Acknowledge and let it keep going. and then establish yourself in truth. Cool. Lana.
Okay, so adding to this, and I love what you just said, Judy. And it reminded me of something that I was thinking about earlier today. Because I'm in this state right now where there's something I'm needing to protect. And today I just saw it, and it was completely encapsulated in this gold heart. So I knew that it was totally of God. And it was a great encouragement. And I just remembered that when you were talking about just over the last 2 years and hearing from God and stuff, and just how you were reminded. And anyways, so it was just a little nugget that was for me that was very precious. So yeah, anyway.
Lana, that's so great. I find it incredible that all of us can listen to the same sentence and all of us can get something different. Like, isn't he wonderful? Isn't he just so wonderful that we just are met where we're at, and there isn't a cookie cutter way a way to do something? Thank you. That's awesome. Evie.
Unmute. Okay. Just throwing this out. One of the things I realized from this is that it takes care of triggers when they come. If we do this at the moment and we don't wait and put it away till, okay, because let's say you go to bed and you forgot what happened in the morning, but it was really bad. So if you really discipline, say, okay, I'm going into the bathroom, I don't care where I am, and deal with it in the moment, little by little, the triggers can't be attacking the same because they've already learned to hear what is truth coming out of you. Right. And they say, oh, but she knows she's health. Oh, that guy knows he's wealth. So, let's go pick on somebody else. Well, anyway, that's a silly way of saying it. But to me, the triggers I've been dealing with lately, and I'm just like, Lord, it's just so amazing that when you walk in love in the moment, and with these, this is amazing because I got knocked out with each 5 minutes. So if I were to actually spend more time,
right,
who knows? So thank you.
Right. No, it thank you. That's so true. Let's get rid of the triggers. Like let's walk up here. Let's not because we can. And we're coming into times, I think, increasingly, it's important increasingly to not let things trigger us. And then, then we're up and down like Tower Bridge. We're just in no man's land. It's really, really, really critical. And if we learn to that there's this place we can go into in ourselves, like go into your closet and shut your door. We can do that if we're at a board meeting. We can do that at an airport. We can do that at a birthday party. We can close in for that little time. How many times have you sort of, we call it zoning out, right? She just zoned out. Well, give yourself a break, zone out, and what you're doing is readjusting you so that you're the best you for what's happening around you as well. And that's really awesome.
Maggie commented, she said it's a type of resistance, right? Resist the enemy and he will flee from us.
Exactly. It doesn't say fight him. Weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty. Awesome. Wow. So if you're going to do, so we did the 5-minute mindfulness on anger, on fear, and on health. What other ones would come to your mind that would be important to you? Okay, there's that many. I'm getting writer's cramp here, but
I would say I am peace, just if you're in a chaotic situation, to be able to go to that place and into calm, to rest, to peace.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing about peace.
Right.
And it looks like there was 2 other people in the chat that said peace, and Evie said yes. Peace obviously is a big one for us.
Well, it's true. We're living in such a time as this, that peace. Oh, and from Maggie, limitless. Yeah.
I also would say I am freedom. That would be what I'd want to work on.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Just what you just said, I am limitless.
Limitless. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. These are things that, are you seeing how also this 5-minute mindful meditation dovetails with heart-brain coherence, with our mind movie, right? When we did our, discuss the mind movie, the importance of that, and it is this multifaceted area that we've hit, and we'll enlarge on it.
I was thinking even just the whole power of intention as well, and not only for ourselves, but I was just listening to the teaching on power of thoughts as well, talking about these places that heal in China, the hospitals you had mentioned, where they, just release that intention over their patient, and within minutes seeing those cancer, be removed. And so powerful.
Yeah. It all dovetails together. The thing I'm most excited about is, in our community actually engaging and doing it. We're just not learning. It's not just something out there that we've learned or clicked on a YouTube. It's the ability to do it and to actually start engaging in it and become mindful and aware. There's so many things that we would like to just push back, but if we know how to deal with it, actually nothing can get us. Nothing. There is nothing that can get us, because we are who we are. Evie.
It's like it's all backwards. It's upside down. We were taught, like others said, like, okay, don't talk about it. Don't cry. You have to be strong. Don't show your emotions. But now it's like, hey, it's okay to feel, even if it's a negative, but then you release it, and then it can't stay and form matter in you. It can't become something else because you're dealing with it right away. It's just really, like you say, it's the upside down. It's so important to recognize that it's there and then feel and let it go and turn it.
But also,
awesome.
And also replace.
Yeah. Replace. I know I was doing it with my hands, but yeah, replace.
I saw that.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because nature abhors a vacuum, right? Which means that when there's nothing in something, everything gets sucked in. And so when you remove something, put the right thing in. So that's what your basis is. That's what your foundation becomes. All right. Thanks for that. Caroline.
You know what? I love the thought that when we release something terrible, all the negatives, that we release them into Christ, and guess what? They are converted into light. So we're getting rid of bad stuff, but it's not going to be out there somewhere. Like at the moment, if I breathe out anger, then it's out there, it's rippling through the whatever. But if I release it into Christ, like these meditations are doing, then he converts it. He's a money launderer. He's a converter. And out it comes again as the anger's turned. Actually, that gives me a really cool feeling. It's like slight vengeance, you know. But the anger is now joy or whatever else it becomes. I just love that thought. That keeps me going. The thought that it must be the revenge side of me. It's like, goodbye, you're going to become beautiful now. Anyway, there we go.
That's a riot. That's good. It's a little crazy living in your head sometimes, eh, Carolyn? Are you there? Okay. You talking?
I have had anxiety from 3 years old. I've recently met my kindergarten teacher who, well, if I'm 64, she must be about 100. And I met her and she said in all her years of teaching, Caroline was the most anxious child she'd ever met. And my mother couldn't do a thing. All I did, and you know what? Right until the last year or two, I've been anxious. And now I've got all these blinking health issues because of that. And but I believe I'm strong. That's some kind of thing that was put into me. And that's why I've never been completely wrecked yet. And so this whole stuff is almost like a godsend. Well, it is a godsend, obviously. And it's shedding all the anxiety. I mean, I can't tell you right up until a year ago how I would wake up in the night anxious and have to, we live in the country, walk up and down the road in the pitch dark, hyperventilating until it was gone. And it was just something I was born with. I went to court 1,000 times with experts and it never ever left. But do you know what? It's leaving. It's just amazing. And it's all through this. So that's my testimony. And I believe in what you're teaching. It's finally at my age, like you said before, you're not too old. Well, finally at my age, I'm going somewhere, you know, good. Yeah, so I'm not giving you my bad story. I just wanted to tell you that this is a life-changing thing for me.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, Caroline, you know what? I know your story is going to impact a lot of people and bring hope. And good for you. Thank you for being transparent. That cannot have been an easy road to walk in the dark.
No, and it's brought about me into my life countless terrible things. Mm-hmm. You know, when I look back, people say, wow, you've had a life of so many bad things. How they all happen to one person? And I go, well, I know whose fault it is. It's my choice. And I've allowed it to happen, but I didn't know how to fight all this anxiety, you know. And now this is the best. So thank you.
Well, we'll give God all the glory, all the glory. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Susan.
Yeah, I want, Caroline, thank you, because you said something to me that clarified what I wanted to say. Helen, when you talked about what would another thing we would put in that blank, I would say redemption. I am redemption. Because what Caroline, when she was talking about all those things and breathing out the anger, Jesus redeems those. It isn't just quite the way you put it, but he's our Redeemer, and we are in him and he in us. So we are redemption. So we have redemption completely, but we also are redemption. And what a gift. I mean, I just got a view of that, like it shifted my perspective, and I realized that's how I am to people around me. When I am redemption, they are redeemed. They come and they experience that experience of redemption. So Caroline, thank you. That was so rightly said. It just unlocked what I couldn't get my mind around and my heart around, but thank you.
Susan, that was fabulous. And what triggered me when you said that is we cannot be what we don't have. We cannot give what we don't have. So that realization, ramps up the frequency for that within you as you, and that's how it is with everything, right? We don't have wealth. We are wealth. We aren't healthy. We are health.
Right.
And so it's subtle, but when we get it, we get it. And then we
Yeah.
can put it away. Yeah.
Can I read something Em wrote just before Gigi speaks? She wrote, I find that when there are triggers, they are also opportunities for growth towards my higher self. A higher frequency, so I am drawn to a deeper relationship with the divine, with my creator. Having gratitude and appreciation for any trigger, as I am willing to acknowledge it, deal with it, and embrace the new vision for my future.
Yeah. 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 Well said. Well said. Thank you. Gigi.
Just a quick thing, just based on what Caroline shared with us. I love your simplicity. It's great. Thank you. Uh, she said being converted. And I thought, oh, it just popped into my brain. Helen was talking about that she goes into a cocoon. And so caterpillar goes into a cocoon to be converted and to be completely transformed, not a version of the caterpillar, a completely new being. Like they don't know what they're doing. And they turn into mush, I think. They turn into absolutely nothing in that cocoon. Because in that process of going inward and being in that cocoon, there's a transformation. We don't have to know how it works. We just have to go in and then see the unlimited butterfly that gets to come out in a time, the right time. So that's another thing I wanted to say, and it reminded me of it, was that we think everything's just supposed to, we did this, now everything's fine, right? But Helen again said there's this repetition thing, and we practice, this is a practice. But it is just to say that we do a thing, we have this 5-minute thing, we go into the cocoon, the transformation begins. And in the perfect time, in the perfect season, it manifests in our life. So just wanted to bring that up because it seemed to pull it together, what we did and what happens there. And it's not really dependent on how for us to know, just to do.
That's so good. And you know what? That's so good. We've been learning in our as we touch on what we're able to understand in quantum entanglement, quantum physics, and we use these words as though we understood them, but what we're learning, the bits and pieces that we're learning, is that the quantum in it is becoming more and more real, the unseen. And what we've learned, and I don't remember what lesson it was in, but we talked about the law of observation and how that's important, but how that has changed in the quantum world to participation. It's not good enough just to observe. You have to participate. And that's where we're at now, is proving that as we participate, that creation shift happens. Awesome, awesome. Lana.
When Gina was speaking, I was just thinking about watching monarch butterflies, and when they go into the chrysalis stage and it's this beautiful green color, it's interwoven with gold. So anyway, just to share.
I love that. I'm going to enjoy cocooning more. except for the fact that some of it dissolves and it hurts when you have to dissolve everything. Thinking gold. Susan.
Just to speak into what Lana said, I propagate monarchs, and on their little chrysalis, there's actually a little beads of gold right between the top where it attaches to the stem and the bottom part where the transformation takes place. And every time I look at that, I think that these tiny little creatures are just surrounded by the glory as they're being changed by their creator from glory to glory. And it just takes my breath away every time we find one of those and every time we watch them spin. And it's just fascinating. So yeah, and I know there's gold on the inside too, but I've never had the heart to cut one open and look at it when it was in process, because I'm just always so thrilled when they come out.
Wow. Wow. I love those kind of little bits of information. I love the imagery of that. Thank you.
Our wonderful creator. Whew.
Amen. Amen.
And he did a great job on all of us too.
He did. He did. Oh, hi, Elizabeth. Hi.
Hi, it's all so good. Oh my gosh. So I was getting about the transformation. Also, we're learning to transmute things, like changing the substance. And this is so significant for me because in the last, years, I've learned to just continually connect and keep that, like that has been my life. He's become my life just in a continual, like taking those moments just to connect and have that strength. But what you're teaching, learning to literally transmute and transform those things, those negative energies, the negative emotions, and it's just amazing what we're learning. I just feel like, we're evolving and we're becoming and being revealed, just like Superman, just, it's amazing what's happening. It's like the foundation has been set and now we're just building and building and building. And just to share that.
Thank you. That you know what, I agree with you, Elizabeth. I think part of the encouragement for me is when we're the building, it come to a place in our building process that we realize, hey, we've got a little bit of a platform here. We've got a little bit of a foundation, actually, that we can really build on with confidence. We're not groping anymore for, is there a firm footing? And it feels like it's taking a long time, but then you realize, no, it's taking the right time.
Yeah, it's like the foundation maybe took a long time, but now it's just all coming. It's all making sense and right. And we're just stepping into it and it's just the time. Yeah. It's the time for this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Totally. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. 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 Well, are we good? I'm not seeing any hands. Are we good, Kathy?
I think we're great.
Looking at my praying medic, he had two thumbs. We're good. Okay. Well, okay. Thank you. Thank you. My homework is going to be to redo those meditations and have a proper soundtrack behind it, so that it'll make it a little bit easier. So it'll take a couple of days now before I'll put this on, so that when you or if you want to share it with people, they'll have a better sound. I don't like it when we're frustrated, when something frustrates you and then we don't hear it right. So I appreciate you sharing. Don't ever worry about saying you don't understand or this doesn't sound good or whatever, because it really helps, and it's really important to me to do our best. I know that we're not professionals, but we can always do our best, and so we'll ramp it up a bit when we can. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Helen, what does your shirt say? I see I am on the top.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
That's Kimberly. Kimberly,
Yeah.
I am the plot twist.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
We are it. We are it. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining in. Eddie, are you saying anything? Were you waving at me? No. Okay.
He's clapping. He's saying, "Well done, way to go, Helen." So we all are.
Well,
Thank you, Helen. That was a great evening.
bless you. And may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and grant you his shalom, his peace. I love you, love you, love you. And we'll see you next time.
See y'all.
See you. Good night.